There are 4 different ways that we tend to measure value. If you ask most people what they think is most valuable to them in a presentation, the answer usually is entertainment value. So this is just the pure pleasure that's associated with having a good time while we are listening to someone speak, while we receive new knowledge. As an audience, we might laugh, we might cry, we might feel good about life or good about ourselves for a few minutes, and maybe because of that, we become more receptive to that speaker and to their message, and that's great. But it can't stop there. The entertainment value has to then go beyond just being entertaining and also create motivation, which then leads to action for the audience. If that doesn't happen, nothing actually changes, either for the audience or for us. We had a great time in the talk, and that's it. That's where the whole thing ended. The next goal that a lot of speakers look for is emotional value. Now, this is where we create a positive bond or a connection between the speaker and their brand and then the audience. How does that speaker make us feel? Emotional value can be so powerful, but once again, only if the speaker can then clearly translate that emotional response into fast, easily achievable action, momentum toward a personal or professional growth. Emotion on its own, it doesn't result in any real tangible change for anybody. That then leads us to personal value, the third type. And this is what we get when we hear a speaker who seems to really understand us, somebody who shares our challenges, who aligns with our perspective. So the speaker's story looks and sounds just like our story. We see ourselves in that speaker, and we want to achieve the same success that they have achieved, which is great. Personal value, though, only succeeds when the audience hears that story and then says, I get it. I know exactly how to begin reaching that same level of success for myself. If the audience can't do that, if they can't take that action toward their own success, it's just a lot of inspiration without much payoff. And that brings us to professional value, the fourth type. Now, professional value goes beyond the entertainment, it goes beyond the emotional connection, it goes beyond the personal passion, and now you guide your audience towards an immediate, desirable, easily achievable path toward their own newfound success. So your talk, it can't just explain what's possible, it then has to give your audience everything that they need to confidently and quickly take action the moment you have finished speaking. Professional value, this is where you combine both of those gifts. Number 1, you inspire and you motivate your audience to action. And then gift number 2, your talk gives them all of the tools they need to quickly and easily go take that action for themselves. Why is action so vital? Well, once your talk is ended, action is really all that matters. Let's say that somebody has got a great time in your talk. They've enjoyed what you've said, but then they don't take action when you're done. They don't move toward a new personal goal or a professional step up in their career. Nothing changes for them. Nothing changes for you as a speaker or for your company. You don't generate new business. Think of all the presentations you've watched over your career. How many times did you walk away and instantly take meaningful, substantive action on that speaker's topic? Not very often, right? The reason so many talks leave us empty or bored or uninspired is because the speaker missed the core value for their audience. And usually it's because they focused entirely on themselves, their own corporate content. They wrote their script by lifting information off the company website. Maybe they copied and pasted sections from legal approved documentation, and then their slides are a bunch of text bullets and a lot of complicated graphics. It becomes this big, wordy marketing pitch. We are being sold by that speaker. I call this presentation style tell and sell. You've seen it a million times. It sounds something like this. Hi, I'm Steve. I'm a systems engineer. This is my company. This is my product. Here are our KPIs. Here's our website. We hope you like the product and go out and buy it. Thank you so much. And that's it. You're done. There's no passion, no human connection, no professional value for that audience. Most people build their talks on data and on details instead of on personal connection, deeper value, actionable inspiration. All right, step 1. We have to recognize and understand everything valuable for your audience starts and ends with what that audience cares about most, not what you care about or what your company cares about most. Remember, you are giving your talk for them, not for you, not for your brand. So unless that audience can clearly see that and hear that dedication to them, they will never fully invest or connect with you or with your message. So to create that value, we have to start cutting through the tech speak and the corporate jargon so that the data and the detail that you include in your talk, that you have to include, becomes more personalized, more connective. As you start to plan out what you're going to say in your presentation, you're writing your notes, you're mapping out your story, you want to craft every idea from the audience's perspective and not from yours. You can go sentence by sentence through your script and ask, okay, what are they going to care about most in this thought, this section? What will they find most valuable in that image or in that graphic? In other words, don't tell them what you want to tell them. Tell them what they want to hear. If your talk is all about you and your product and your brand and what you find most important, you are not providing your dedication to them and that value to their success. They have to see themselves in your story in order to be inspired to take action. Because if they don't take action, as we said, you and your organization, you won't get that new business that you are up on that stage or in that camera trying to create. I want to give you a quick side story. My friend Michael is a real estate agent in Chicago, where I live. Michael says the key to selling a house is you walk your client in that door and you get them to start envisioning themselves living in that home. They start to think, oh, yeah, the TV goes right over there on that wall, and then my kids, they're going to do their homework right over here in that picture window, and friends are going to come over, and we'll have cocktails on the patio. My bed is going to look so good in that room. Once your client starts to imagine themselves and their belongings in that space, guess what? You've sold that home. Your content works exactly the same way. Your product, your service, your solution works the same way. Get them to imagine themselves succeeding by using what it is you are up there talking to them about. You have to sell your passion and not your product. As I said, most speakers are too busy sharing their data and their details and not themselves, which makes sense. You have to talk about your product or your service. But if your product, let's say, is drilling equipment or disposable gloves, it may be hard to find passion in that. And maybe you're thinking, I am not passionate about latex gloves. I'm up here on stage to sell a product. I get that. Finding passion in your talk goes so much deeper than the product. You want to ask yourself, okay, what benefit do my gloves create for other people? For example, how can my gloves improve a chemist's chances of discovering a new vaccine during a time of pandemic? How can my gloves protect a factory worker from injury? How will my gloves help a school nurse safely care for our children? Passion doesn't come from the product. It comes from the results that your product or service or solution offers. And that is what creates meaningful personal value for your audience. That's what will inspire them to take action. I want to give you a recent example. I was speaking for a Fortune tech brand that has a brand new software security product. It helps their clients expose hidden network threats and then very quickly remediate those threats up to 100 times faster. Terrific product. We started where most products begin. Our solution helps customers discover data breaches faster and then fix those problems more easily. Excellent. It's too corporate, though. It's not personal. We know what the product does. Now we need to know why that matters, what the passion for that is. Most of my clients get very confused when I ask that question, but what I'm trying to do is dig below the product and bring out the more human value that they offer to the marketplace. So I'll ask my client, I'll say, okay, what does your solution actually mean for an individual in your audience? Not the whole company, one person. And they'll say something like, well, like we said, they can discover problems faster. They can fix them more easily. Okay, how does that change their world, the way they do their job? Well, if they can discover a network leak faster, their company will be safer and stronger. All right, that's great. Now what happens for them once their company is safer and stronger? Happier customers. Well, what does that mean? Well, happier customers mean more business for the company. Okay, keep going. More business. They will stay more devoted to the company for longer. They'll invest in more products. Okay, good. Now, how will that pay off for that individual, that woman sitting out there in row 5? If she can create more business, leadership is going to think she's really valuable. Okay, what does that do for her? Well, maybe they'll give her some more trust, more resources. She looks better to her boss. Now, there. We've started to make it more personal for the audience. It's not just a corporate message. Now it means something. And that's something people can get passionate about. So we started with, please buy our great software. We ended with, our software can make your job easier and help you become a more valuable asset to your company. Now, I want to be very clear. I am not suggesting that you go up on stage and tell your audience, my product is going to get you a raise, or it's going to get you a new title on your business card. Not at all. What I'm suggesting is that you find the personal goal that you can be passionate about in your talk, and then you use that passion to inspire your audience and to motivate them to take action when you're done speaking. Go into one of your scripts right now, something you did recently, something you're planning. How much are you speaking from your audience's perspective compared to yours? How much are you putting the data and the details in your talk into a story that the audience is going to connect with and be motivated and inspired to take action by? That's the why you want to get. All right, so where does the why need to go in your talk? You ready for this? Right up at the front, the minute you hit stage and start speaking. I call this prove value first. Most speakers don't do that. They come up on stage and they jump right into their corporate message. Maybe they save the big value payoff for the end of their talk. That may work in spy novels or television police dramas. It doesn't work in public speaking. Your audience needs to see your passion and recognize how you plan to give them a new path to success. Until they see that, they won't fully invest in you or your message. Prove value first. From there, you want to keep coming back to your opening value promise throughout your talk. And I call that prove value always. You promise them success at the beginning, prove value first. You then keep reminding your audience again and again why they should stay connected to you, and you keep re-inspiring them to continue giving you your undivided attention. Prove value always. So go through your scripts. Look for transition points between sections. Where have you finished one big idea or one long data dump, and you're about to go into a new one? Before you do, stop, pause between those ideas. Give us a moment to absorb and process everything you just told us. Remind your audience of the value that you are creating for them. Prove value first, prove value always. The acronym is PVF, PVA. That is what is going to continue to inspire and motivate your audience to take action once your talk ends.